Yes, sir.
All right, let me find that. That's
I'm
up.
in the waiting room.
Dan, Beresford Productions, Liberty Dude. How's you going, guys? No, I haven't got the. By the way, I haven't gotten the monitor yet. It's
The TV, you mean?
43-inch monitor. Well, you know what? I was thinking about.
TV.
I was thinking about going 32, but because I'm on a 34-inch widescreen. But damn, like the widescreen's a little too narrow for me. Yeah, thank you.
I knew. I was like, I'm waiting for him to bitch at me.
The widescreen's a little too narrow for especially video editing. All you get is this tiny little squares the video. And I don't know how many times where I go to watch a video on YouTube and I recognize something that I should have seen in the video, but because the little just tiny little fucking screen for editing. So I need I'm going to be using my 34-inch wide for doing color correction because it's actually got a very good color.
And then it's got a good gamut.
Yes, but the 43-inch does not, but it's a fantastic 43-inch 4K display.
Is it HDR at least?
Yeah, HDR 10.
Hey.
Or HDR 600, whatever the hell. I can't keep
How many nits?
I can't remember. I actually linked it in Discord. You can check it out.
Sweet.
The 4K is the one thing. I don't really need the nits. I don't even need the HDR. I do a lot of content consumption, but very little of it is HDR, so...
I like having a high nit monitor because then it doubles as a flashlight.
That's true. Your room is lit up at all times. I don't actually want it super bright because I stare at the fucking thing all day.
Yeah,
man.
I'm the same. And this is a pretty dim room. I could probably handle a lighter monitor because I have a backlight behind the monitor. So it helps, like the contrast wouldn't be that bad. But like if you're in a pitch black room and you have like a 5,000 nit monitor, some stupid shit, like you're gonna come out of that and be so like eye fatigued.
Yeah, Liberty Dude says using a TV for a monitor, depending on what you use it for, can be a very viable solution. I'm very much multi-use. I do enjoy a little bit of gaming. I prefer content consumption, but it's the editing. Also, every TV in this house is 1080p with the exception of one that's 720p.
Well, so one of the problems, and I actually watched a video where Linus was talking about this, and it makes sense because he uses in his office, or I guess up until recently. The problem is especially, and this really only applies to like OLED TVs, you'll get screen burn.
Yeah.
Because they're not designed to have like one static image, and if you're typing up a Word document, 90% of the screen isn't changing.
Yep. Well, they have a few different things that it does where it moves it like 1 pixel.
Yeah,
all
apparently
the time.
like the Samsung, like the QLED technology.
Yeah.
Apparently that supposedly fixes it with God knows what kind of DSP.
But I don't game enough. I don't necessarily need OLED. I don't need the
extra dynamic.
Yeah, I don't need the dynamic range. I'm not shooting that. I would like to shoot 4K eventually. When I can upgrade my cameras and not feel like I'm going completely broke. But I mean, that's not right now. It's just making sure my workflow, especially doing the morning show. Oh my God, the 34-inch ultra wide isn't big enough for all the windows I need to operate the morning show.
You got to alt tab, dude.
I hate alt tab in the middle of a morning show when you're trying to get to that bloody auto button. And you're like, the music's got to go, and you're alt tabbing and going through all this stuff. I hate it.
Have you ever tried setting up like multiple desktops within Windows, and you can use like the start and then the arrow
No,
keys
I thought about getting a 43-inch monitor so I don't have to worry about it anymore.
See, I'm so used to, like, I would never get 2 monitors just because I just don't think it's practical for my workflow. Like I've used pretty much the only time I've ever had 2 monitors was when we were at work.
Well,
back in the day.
That's why I got the 43. That's why I actually got the ultra wide. Is I don't like double monitors either. I like one big one. The 43 should be good enough for everything.
You would think.
The ultra wide I'm going to keep around. I'm going to be able to use it on stream, so I'll be able to bring it over, hook it up to the laptop, and have an extra monitor for that, which would be great. So I can keep the stream on one window, comments on another, all that stuff. But it's gonna kick around. It's not an overly high-end ultra wide. It was like $400.
That's not bad.
I have screen burn-in on my phone screen. Oh crap, that sucks.
Shouldn't happen. I mean, I'm not looking forward to that because my old iPhone was just straight up LCD, but this is OLED, and I'm not looking forward to, or not OLED, just LED, LED. But I'm not looking forward to that because, yeah, I mean, most of the time, I mean, I'm pretty ADD on my phone. Like, it's very rare that I'll just keep something open on the screen without moving it at some point like, within a few seconds. So I don't think I'll have that problem, but I might have it, like, for instance, where the clock is, because that doesn't change very often. Like in Windows with the taskbar, like you turn your monitor on white and you just see like this ghost of a taskbar at the bottom.
Yeah, it sucks. By the way, thank you to everyone for your patience taking the week off. Last week sucked. I was doing morning show in Ottawa, and then I was doing the afternoon drive in Toronto.
Oh, they getting you to do that now.
Oh, nope, only for the week because the guy in Toronto wanted the week off, and I got to Thursday. Now, I'd say about 12 years ago, I blew up my voice during a concert while I was playing a concert. And I didn't even know until I got finished the concert, and I went out to go talk to some people when I got off stage, and all that came out was a squeak. And since then, I know there's certain signs I know when my voice is about to give out, and it takes about a month to recuperate.
Yeah, it's not good.
And I'm like, I've got way too much stuff right now that depends on me having a voice. So I actually had to call it. And I think I was good probably Tuesday. But I just kind of I've been babying it all week, drinking lots of tea. Earl Grey with vanilla.
That's why a lot of like even what was that? I called one of our syndicated VOs for the AC brand, and John Beach, awesome guy. And this was years ago, and I called him, and he was like practically whispering into the phone, and I was like, he was like, "Hey man, what's going on?" I'm like, "Not much. What's up with you?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm just." I said, "Do you have like a kid sleeping or something?" He's like, "No." He's like, "No, I've got like a massive 3-page read for CNN in like 10 minutes, so I'm just trying to." Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, that's smart."
And that's the thing. So like, I'll avoid any talking engagements. Like if I'm trying to save my voice.
That's why I was actually gonna call you on the weekend, but I said no, I'm gonna let you.
Yeah, no, and that's the problem, right? Like I don't know. I know it takes a month to get it back once it's gone, and it comes back like a shot. It doesn't slowly come back. I'm literally a whisper to a scream.
Yeah, like overnight, pretty much.
Yeah, so I can't risk that. So as soon as I see some of the stuff, I clamp shit down. I took Monday off from work as well. And yeah, it's so far so good. Actually, what this stream is named for, I wonder how many people didn't get it because did you see the name of the stream?
I'm just gonna say I'm just going to look at that now. No, not Meatloaf. What happened to Meatloaf? What happened to good old Meatloaf today?
Meatloaf died.
Did he die? I didn't know that.
Died 74. Sorry.
I was
40s.
gonna say what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, Meatloaf 2.0. I mean, he released an album over 40 years ago.
Jeez, so first Bob Saget, then Betty White, then Meatloaf.
then Louis. I wanted to say Louis Armstrong. My God,
don't say CK.
The comedian Louis
CK.
No, the big tubby guy from the 80s.
Oh,
Louis Anderson.
Oh,
Louis Anderson died today. Like, what a shitty start to 2022. Also, there have been very few artists that have died that have actually impacted me that much. Jeff Healey was one of the first that really like dug deep and made me like almost weep.
It takes a lot for me for a celebrity death to just in general because I don't know these people.
No,
I think
not
for
at all.
me the Tom Petty was a big one.
Yeah, Tom Petty hit me, but it didn't hit me as hard as I thought it would have.
Yeah, and there's some that they all sucked. When David Bowie died, I was like, oh, that's shitty. But I didn't get emotional about it. Same with Prince. When Prince died, it was kind of the same.
Prince has never really been my cup of tea. But
yeah.
What it is, I think it's something about Meatloaf was my first kind of when I started to really grow my songwriting. That was to Meatloaf, and it's like all of his songwriting was so good. Well, it was him and what's his name? He wrote with a theatrical writer. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Just fantastic music, fantastic showmanship, everything. The one guy I really wish I wanted to see live before he died. I thought Louis Anderson was dead a few years back until I saw him in the new Eddie Murphy movie, Coming to America. He was in the second one that just came out, and it's like, oh my God. But then he was put in a hospital, I think, about a week ago. And it didn't look good, and passed away today. Very, very sad news. Though
Both.
Meatloaf, I don't know why it hit me harder than Tom Petty, but it did. And I found out when I
would
woke
not
up
have
to do the
guessed
morning
that.
show.
Like for you, I would not have guessed that. I would have figured, given the Tom Petty brand versus the Meatloaf brand, I would have expected.
Well, Tom Petty was the first song I learned on guitar, Free Falling.
Nice.
Like that was the first song I sat down and actually went out of my
You're
way to
probably
learn.
the one guitar player that learned that before Smoke on the Water.
Was because my stepfather listened to Muddy Waters, a lot of like jazz stuff that like no chance in hell I'm picking up when I first pick up a guitar. But he had Tom Petty's album with Free Falling on it. And I remember that because that whole album was fucking gold. Like gold. It was hit after hit on that album. And I picked up Free Falling because that was like, it sounded easy enough to learn. And it was. So...
It's kind of an unpopular opinion, and this sort of happened. You remember when the country musician Charlie Pride died? Not last year, but the year before. Like, I remember when that happened, and we were talking about it like at work, and everyone's like, "It's so tragic. It's tragic." I'm like, "Is it?" He was 86. He did all the things he needed to do.
Yeah,
he's retired. I mean, it's shitty, but I'm not gonna say it's tragic. It's kind of like, again, it's like Betty White. The one thing that was tragic about the Betty White situation, other than the fact it was like right at the end of the year, was the fact it was like what, like a week and a half before the 100th birthday.
But it is
that's
kind
of
tragic.
Shitty. But to me, like someone like Betty White, like, I would never wish death on anybody. But like, Betty White was on borrowed time.
Well, this is what I don't get. Like the news articles that have been coming, I'm almost numb to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because like I think it was like 4 days after Betty White died from a stroke. No, Betty White died from being 99.
Yeah, from being old. Yeah,
unless you died jumping a motorbike over a bunch of cars, Evel Knievel style, you died of your age. Like something's going to get you.
Like a 22-year-old dying of cancer. That's tragic.
Yeah, but a 99-year-old didn't just die of a stroke.
No, they died of old age.
Betty White died because Betty White was 99. Her body just went, fuck it, let's do a stroke.
Yeah, when you're up there, your body will just shut down. And yeah, there will be, the one thing that throws you over the edge. But I'm not about to say it's tragic.
No.
That's a little much.
The first time I ever saw Louis Anderson and Bob Saget, they were on a Young Comedian special hosted by Rodney Dangerfield.
Wow.
Oh, Sam
what a
Kinison.
Dream team.
Sam Kinison, I didn't get into him until after he died. And it was shortly thereafter. I hadn't heard of him before because back in the 90s, you didn't hear about people because the internet wasn't a thing, right? Early 90s. And then I heard about him and it's like, dude's dead. And it's like, God damn it. No new material coming from him. He was great though. He was also he had a past. Do you ever listen to Sam Kinison?
No, I may have heard in passing, but I can't think of any material off the top of my head.
You would recognize him.
Probably.
It's very,
well, it's like people that say they've never seen Rodney Dangerfield. It's like, yes, you have.
Yeah.
You might not know that you did, but you definitely have.
If you've ever heard a one-liner, it probably came from him. Here to spread joy. Anyone seen it?
Well, apparently Sam was a big influence for Jimmy Carr.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I don't note a lot of those influences and where they came from. Like, I guess if you really niche down and look at it, you could probably pick out influences on most comedians, but I don't actually watch a lot of comedy anymore. I don't have time to.
No. That goes for most television.
David, certainly nowadays I don't do a CV, I do an obituary. Damn. Yeah. That's harsh. Wow, this got dark real quick. Yeah.
Yep.
So Meatloaf, where would he rank on performers for you?
Great. I think he's a great performer. I can't, because there's just too many options. It's really hard to put them in that order, in like any kind of a linear order. But like I'd say definitely like probably the top 20%.
Yeah, from a performance standpoint, well, he's one of the first theatrical performers for rock, right? Like he predated Kiss. Well, no, he kind of came out around the same time as Kiss.
Although Kiss was a lot of, I mean, don't get me wrong, love me some Kiss, love me some Gene Simmons, but there's a lot of poserness there.
Well,
it's a lot
but that's the differential between the two. Was Kiss was theatrical in look.
Yes.
Like he wrote fucking stories with his music.
Yeah, with Meatloaf, there's a lot of there was authenticity.
Yeah.
Whereas Kiss was a lot about the brand.
Shout it out loud.
It was kind of. It was kind of the one of the precursors to like 80s hair metal.
Well, it's also like concept albums that came from Meatloaf were actual concepts.
Yes.
Like you hear some people who are like, "Oh, this is a concept album about this," and you're like, "I don't see it."
Well, I think a lot of people say, Alan Parsons perfected the concept album and Meatloaf popularized it.
Yeah, that's
Kind of.
interesting.
I think there's some accuracy there, because obviously one of the things that the Alan Parsons, they say Alan Parsons perfected the concept album, but he took all his tricks from Pink Floyd because he was the engineer for Dark Side of the Moon.
Do you consider Dark Side of the Moon or The Wall to be blatantly concept? Now,
not blatantly, but there are thematics to it.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
it's not succinct in the way that like
Meatloaf
the
did it.
perfected. Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no like for me a concept album, and I think this about albums in general, but specifically concept albums have to have a flow.
Yep.
I found that quite honestly, and people are gonna hate me for this. Pink Floyd albums, although they're good, I love Pink Floyd songs. They're very fragmented.
Well, yeah. I mean, even the movie The Wall wasn't cohesive. It had its point. It's good. Like, if you like Pink Floyd, you need to see The Wall.
Yeah. I'm not like a diehard fan, but I'd be curious. I'd be curious to see.
Yeah, it's in today's lens, I don't know how well it holds up. The last time I watched it was like 2000. It held up for me at that time, but I'm also like, I love Pink Floyd, David Gilmour, absolutely love that. As for concept though, like the movie's disjointed because the story's like a drug trip for fuck's sakes.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to have a cohesive
probably
story.
literally inspired by a drug trip.
So but yeah, Meatloaf, like Bat Out of Hell, the first one. I got into Meatloaf Bat Out of Hell 2, and then I kind of backtracked for the first one.
And I like that Meatloaf a lot of the time kind of went back to the Shakespearean concept of an underlying theme in an era where a lot of the writing was very surface and superficial.
Yeah, that's an interesting take.
That's how like a lot of Meatloaf songs, not all of them, but the 80s, let's be honest, the 80s had some great songs, but there was a lot of superficiality to it, to the writing.
Yeah.
And I think Meatloaf retained a sense of storyteller, like bardic authenticity.
Ooh. Man, you should write that eulogy. Damn. So by the way, I should also point this out. I actually used one of the best sounding USB mics. Not to shift off of death and all that, but probably the best sounding USB mic I've ever had in front of me. Reviews coming out Monday. But I also I did a full acoustic.
Of course, you're going to be a dick and you're not going to tell us what it is.
Do you want me to? Should I tell you?
I mean, if you want to, I get the suspense factor, but I hate it.
It's by AKG. It's called the Lyra.
Oh, I like the name.
They
I don't know if I've heard of it.
I was messaging them for the P820, and
840.
No, it's 820. P820. Sure. The P840 I think was a separate one. Almost positive. Anyways, you gonna look it up now?
Fact check.
Anyways, I was asking them
you're
for
right.
that.
The 820.
Yeah, I think the 840 did exist.
Well, I thought because they're not all of them were 20s originally. Like the 120, the 220, like originally like the 240, the blue before they made them all black. The blue version was the 240, and there was the 420 and the 840. So it's like they alternate 2040, 2040.
I think the 840, because I remember looking and I'm like, oh my God, it's discontinued. I'm never going to get it. And then I looked 820 and I'm like, oh, there it is. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. But in the meantime, he's like, well, we're getting it in. Do you want to try out one of the USB mics? I'm like, whatever, sure.
Is it Lyra or Lyra?
Lyra, Lyra.
Almost like because like I know someone that's named that and they go by Lyra, so I'm curious.
That's I don't know.
Tomato.
Yeah, goes by Lyra. I wanted Dylan to fact check false use so hard. Oh no. Fact check false music. Bandrew, for what? Did I insult your your Pink Floyd addiction?
I'm like Joe Rogan. Aiden's
no,
like
don't be Joe Rogan. No.
I'm Joe Rogan. Aiden's who's the crazy guy? Alex What's the guy's name?
Alex Jones?
Yeah, Alex Jones.
You think I'm Alex Jones?
No, but did you see that episode?
Because I'm fat, right?
No. But did you see that episode where he's on there and like every second thing out of his mouth, Joe Rogan's getting his producer Jamie to fact check. Like, he's
yeah,
and
that
and
was.
it's all false. And even Joe looks at him and is like, dude, I love you to death, but you gotta stop talking shit. Like, you really just gotta stop talking shit.
Ms. Ravioli, how's it going? David says, I loved Wish You Were Here and Dark Side. The Wall didn't go the same way. Meadow, Piper at the Gates of Dawn. Yeah, excellent. Meatloaf, brilliant performer. One of my favorite albums by Pink Floyd was The Division Bell. It's one of their later. It's one of their later albums, but that thing fucking kicked.
I like Wish You Were Here. I always had a special place for Wish You Were Here.
Yeah, Wish You Were Here was fantastic. But the Division Bell, when that hit me, I think because it was released when I was in my musical maturity, where I was maturing my musical tastes, and it wasn't my first taste of Pink Floyd, but it definitely was the most relevant one at that time.
I have to inject something. I just remembered something. Miss Ravioli. A fun fact. I don't know if you know this. I just learned this like 2 days ago. The singular version of ravioli is raviolo. I did not know
really.
That. Yeah, one of my friends is Italian, and they told me that they were making a name for a dog, and it was like Roberto Raviolo, and I was like, Raviolo, what the hell is that?
Raviolo.
And they're like, it's the singular version of ravioli. I'm like, oh, the more you know.
That is fascinating information. People,
moving on.
You come for the live stream and you walk away with shit like that. That is
random shit.
That is quality
Quality
there
content.
through and through.
Quality content.
Yeah, great to see you guys. Bandrew still hasn't like what I need to be fact checked false on.
You're so bothered by that.
Well, no, is it because the AKG Lyra was the best USB mic I've had in front of me?
No, I think he's talking about the 840-820.
840-820.
Because I made the joke. I was like, I'm fact checking this.
Oh, okay.
That's what he's talking about, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Why is Bandrew looking to have me fact checked?
He's throwing shade at you.
What the hell, man? I thought creators stuck together, man.
We all gotta be fact checked every once in a while. Everyone is at least 5% bullshit. Everybody.
No, I'm way more than that.
I'm saying at least 5%.
Way more than 5% bullshit. Ms. Ravioli, should we call Ms. Ravioli Miss Raviolo?
I think that should be up to Miss Ravioli to decide.
Ms. Ravioli, we need to know. Yeah, 820, 840 thing. Okay. No, it came while I was just searching it out. As a viewer, it's more interesting.
It's true. It is really entertaining watching people just get shut the fuck down.
No, you know what? I'm actually more than happy to be put in my place. I have no pride. It's been stripped off me over years. There's no like, oh no, I'm right, you're wrong, screw you.
No, it's just a matter of making sure, always just making sure the information is integral.
And you have to give that up when you do live. When you go live, you have to give up on
the pride
assuming
of being
you're
right.
going to be right all the time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you do look like Joe Rogan, like an idiot, trying to like, no, look it up.
Yeah, no, it's like, dude, just admit you fucked up. Like, come on.
Oh no, David's wrecking us now. David, what are you doing? Panini is Panino singular.
Is
what?
it though? Is it? Is it?
I trust David. No. David is a source, man.
I mean, it ends with an I. It sounds Italian, so I'm gonna give it to him. I'm gonna assume.
How many words in the English language are actually like misconstrued as being singular?
Lots. Well, I mean, to be fair, like ravioli and like these words are not English words.
No, but
we use them. They're the names of things.
So when someone's asking you if you want panini bread, should they not be asking you if you want panino bread?
But,
you're not getting multiple breads. You're getting a single one. This is why I said David's ruining us. You can't help yourself, eh?
So, all right. So
okay.
Panini specifically, so we're not talking about pantini, but panini is a plural form in Italian, but it is commonly used both as singular and plural in English.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I kind of like panino. It sounds much more...
Yeah, as a 20-year public broadcaster, I'm humiliated. Panini is frickin' plural.
Well, so I'm gonna bring up a conundrum that goes back and forth in the broadcast industry all the time.
Ooh, conundrums.
and it's going to lead to a second. So this is it, right? The kilometer versus kilometer, right?
Yeah.
So on the one hand, kilometer is correct. On the other hand, we try to be conversational, and nobody, and I mean nobody, says kilometer.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, how many centimeters are in a kilometer?
Centimeters.
Centimeters. If you're going to say it that way, if you're going to say kilometer, you're going to say centimeter.
It's true, but then, why do we say photographer, not photographer? Right?
Oh.
There's tons of words like that.
I don't buy into a lot of that shit, by the way, because it gets jammed down your throat in broadcast.
Let's just say it flat out. English is a fucked up language. It's like 70% Anglo-Saxon, 30% French. We bastardized both of them.
Yeah.
Let's just admit it and just keep doing what we're doing.
I'm just going to speak in emoji from here on out.
Okay, so that leads to, and this is a more recent one that I saw. So speaking about conversational and criticizing announcers. So when you're giving a weather forecast, or when you're listening to a weather forecast on radio, not on television, because that's a different situation, and you hear an announcer in a weather update say that it's going to go up to +2 tomorrow.
Nice. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think we've always gone by the plus. You use the plus if it's under 5 or over 5. So like if it's -5 to +5.
I saw somebody complain about this, and I understand where they're coming from. My psychological objection is this. When people are listening to a weather update, they hear it once, and they may only hear it once, depending on how long they're listening to the radio for. So the nice thing about having that plus there is it's kind of like a trigger for the listener's brain to go, oh, a number's coming. Rather than it's like, it's going down 2. It's like, wait, did they say a number? I didn't hear a number. So it's almost like conditions your brain to look for the minus or the plus when it's down there.
But also, people that complain about that are losers.
Yes, agreed.
Straight up.
But it was in the Milkman group on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, once again, though, losers.
Yeah, a lot of that.
Bandrew says, I want a toasted and hot panino, please.
See, I like that. That sounds sexy. I kind of like that. I'm not I'm a fan of that.
Den says,
terminology.
Please provide panino pronto. You know what? I heard that if you say, please bring pizza pronto 3 times into a mirror, Bandrew actually appears.
I knew something ridiculous was coming.
Almost positive about this. You should give it a shot sometime. That is if you want Bandrew in your house. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Why not? We could have a jam.
Throws all your boxes.
I haven't jammed with somebody in 3 years.
Yeah, jamming would be nice.
Yeah.
Your microphone is apparently coming down to give you a Benny Hill kiss. Oh, that's still.
I had to do it because I do have this SM7 above my head, so I thought, how do you see that?
I didn't even actually point this thing properly. It's just pointing straight down.
That sounded okay. You were intelligible.
Good mic placement, eh? No, I also want to know what prego means.
Pregnant?
No. In Italian, David used it. Okay, Bandrew, prego. What does prego mean? Because I know it's a very, very cheap spaghetti sauce in Canada.
Yeah, it is.
It's kind of a gross
prego.
one. Everybody's gone quiet now. Apparently, you bring up... everyone's ran to their mirror and they're trying to summon Bandrew.
They're trying to summon Bandrew. Actually, speaking of... I got some Muti. I'm going to start buying Muti crushed tomatoes, even though they're ridiculously expensive.
Muti?
Because I was doing some research, and apparently,
the hell
as far as crushed tomatoes go, the company's Muti. They're like a big Italian, really good tomato company.
Okay.
But they're like $3 a can, which is not horrible, but
No.
it's not as good as like Unico. But anyway, I'm getting them now because apparently they're one of the only manufacturers of canned tomatoes that don't use BPA to coat their cans on the inside, which is
really?
like a known carcinogen.
I don't eat canned tomatoes.
I do because they're cheap and they have a shelf life. Regular tomatoes don't.
Well, yeah, but you
regular tomatoes are cheap.
You can can your own.
Fuck that. I don't have time for that shit.
Grow them they grow like the easiest thing to grow is tomatoes.
It's true. And tomatoes, like fresh tomatoes that are grown in a garden, taste way better. Even than store-bought like tomatoes on like the produce section. I love fresh tomatoes.
Bangs. I'm a loser, and I'm not what I appear to be. Of all the love I have won, all I've lost. There's one I should... Okay, so
Bangs and David are just sort of roasting us from either end at this point.
Bangs is drinking. I must keep it, Ms. Ravioli. My tennis players named me, and it was the babies. pre-K to second grade. Aw,
go.
that's sweet. All right, yeah, you're Ms. Ravioli.
Yep,
That's it.
100%.
You are multiple, I guess. Liberty Dude, to see Banjo in a mirror, you need to use the correct UV light to see the stain. Oh. David Prego is you're welcome. Oh, cool. Or it's nothing. And Midnight Wolf, work sucks today. That sucks.
Yep, I hear that.
Are you literally watching us at work, Midnight Wolf?
That's awesome. If that's the case.
Like, I know there's, I watch a couple streamers. One of the streamers, gaming streamers I watch is Brian Menard. He plays a lot of State of Decay, and he tries out new games every once in a while. But a lot of the people that watch his streams, they watch for like 4 hours at a time. They're at work. I don't understand how people have a job where you can go and just sit and watch a guy
honestly,
play video games.
in like the last few weeks in my job, like I had enough time to just go and muck about in some Call of Duty like for like 2 hours in the middle of the workday.
Nice. That's awesome.
If Dave is listening, I'm sorry. My boss.
David says it's tomatoes. Tomatoes. Oh, that's what you're trying to say. Nuno Cosmos. I've seen Nuno here before. How's it going, Nuno? I'm almost positive I've seen that.
So I could say, I'm just going back to an old part of the conversation. I mean, the mitochondria, the powerhouse of a cell.
Yes.
Kind of looks like a raviolo. So I guess
so
like you're made up of a bunch of mitochondria, but it's like a bunch of raviolis, a bunch of raviolos. So yeah, Miss Ravioli. Yeah, I've justified it. Yay.
There you go, buddy. That was bugging you, wasn't it?
It was bugging me. I'm going to find a way to make this work.
Dan says, isn't Dylan living on like a 7th floor? Yeah, grow tomatoes easily.
How do you remember that? That's both creepy and impressive.
No. People in this group, man, they know shit.
I know that, but like I've watched streamers too, and there's tons of shit that I don't remember about streamers that I watch.
No,
maybe I'm just not that committed.
Maybe you just don't love streamers the way people love you, Dylan. That's
not.
what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And that's a great thing because with tomatoes, you always get more than you need. So canning them would be super simple.
Oh my God. Like my parents have been growing tomatoes at their place for the last few years, and they always like the yield is always like, we have way, like, do you have friends that need tomatoes? We have way too many tomatoes.
We planted 6 plants because I don't know why. And we probably had a yield of about 700 tomatoes.
Yeah, I think my dad planted 12 or 24. I forget, but I think they had like 12 on one side, 12 on the other. If they're watching, please correct me. I don't remember. I know it was a lot, though.
Midnight Wolf says, listening in my trucking headset. Nice. Oh, it's a truck driver, Midnight Wolf. Right on. Good to see that there's extra truck drivers in the group because...
Represent.
Yeah. Ex-truck driver myself. Liberty Dude, 90% of my Discord interaction takes place while I'm at work. Liberty, what do you do for work? Curious. Then Bangs is probably going to correct you on something, Dylan. Mitochondria were originally invasive parasites, which they have their own DNA.
I mean, that's extra information.
That's cool. That's cool.
It's not really a correction, but that's interesting.
Dan says...
I mean, we're still invasive parasites, so...
Dan says, that time you had to run downstairs for the package at Christmas, that stream was my birthday.
Oh, well, that'll do it.
Was that after Christmas or before Christmas?
Before. It was like 2 years ago, too. It wasn't this Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Dan's got a memory, man.
Yeah.
Holy
crap.
I think I'm caught up on all the...
comments?
Yeah, no, I want to... next year, I want to actually can some tomatoes. I think that's going to happen. Now you've got me. Midnight Wolf says, no field service tech for state lottery. Oh, cool. That sounds like a fun job. Or
I don't even know what that means, but it sounds interesting.
So it's service tech for state lottery. So he goes around and he probably services the machines.
I just kind of got fixated on why service was the only capitalized word in the title. So I thought it was like a service department, and then like
he got an itchy thumb. Let him go.
No, I'm not being a dick about it. Like I got lost on that point.
So, oh wow, I just got the notification that there's a live on this channel. Jesus.
Thanks, Google.
Yeah, but
thanks, Alphabet Inc.
Midnight Wolf drives like a trucker. I'm still waiting to see what Liberty Dude does for a job. That's actually a curious thought because I was talking to Bandrew. I think that was about 5 months ago, and because I just had to ask him, like, what do you do for a job? And I'm not going to share that here because I don't know if Bandrew has shared what his job is. But I'm fascinated by the day jobs of people involved with like all of this. Like I'm fascinated about all the day jobs
Oh,
we have.
yeah, actually, I think you told me what. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, some of us, I think that there's very few YouTubers in this space that actually end up doing as a day job, like the things that they talk about. Like I'm always surprised at like the tech YouTubers that their day job has nothing to do with tech in a lot of cases. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, no, and that's well, I mean it would you want to do this for your day job and then come home and do it at night?
So this brings up I was just up Andrew posted.
Okay, so
So I want to talk about something interesting here, and it's around doing the things that we do on salary. So for legal purposes, I'm going to say one of my employers, so I can have plausible
fair.
deniability.
All right, I like that.
I had a conversation. So I don't know, Aiden, if you've heard about Ontario Bill 27.
No, I have not.
So Ontario Bill 27 is a bill that prohibits employers operating in Ontario from entering employees into non-competes. So non-competes are no longer allowed in Ontario anymore.
That's why. That's fascinating.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
So, which is good, and one of my other coworkers was also explaining the part of it that is not so good. But for the most part, it's good. So I was talking with my coworkers about it, and initially, like I discovered in reading my employment contract because I made them send it to me. I'm not on a non-compete, so it doesn't really affect me. Like I could get let go tomorrow and start working for the team across the street, and they couldn't say shit, which is fine.
Nice.
But it started up a larger conversation about like one of the more veteran senior entities in that particular employer that I work for. Was basically telling me like, well, because I was like, okay, so I can still like freelance and stuff like outside of the business, and he's like, well, you really shouldn't. Because he's like, as your employer, like company X owns your skill set.
Ouch.
And I'm like, that's not my understanding. My employment contract says for 37 and a half hours a week, you do.
Yes.
Outside of that, that's my business. He's like, no, that's like because we develop you, those skill sets.
Me.
And I know with one of your old employers, you went through that.
Yeah, no,
a little bit.
what it was they told me that anything I created was theirs. So
Yeah.
while I was under contract, if I went out and did a podcast, it was already theirs. And I said, no, it's not. Well, yes, if you're creating stuff, that's ours. Bite me?
So what I said is I explained that that's a double-edged sword. And he's like, well, how do you mean? I said, well, so you guys get me to do jingles, and you guys get me to do video production for you now. I said, so those are off the table. He's like, well, you can't do that. I said, yes, I can. It's not in my job description to do those things. So I can full on decline that. And I'm doing it because you don't get to own my musical capabilities. You also don't get to own you can own my broadcast creative production.
Yeah.
And I'm barely comfortable with that, but that's all I'm giving you. And then they started to roll back. They're like, well, as long as it's during the 37, I would say, okay, now it's changing. Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like you can't, that stuff's dirty.
I hate that.
What they try to do with a lot of these contracts, by the way, I learned something about contracts. We'll get that into a second.
If you sign them, they apply to you?
No, there's something different, especially in Canada. It's a fascinating little facet of contracts.
Contract law is very interesting, the kinds of shit that they are and are not allowed to do.
The other duties as directed is usually what they try to lump everything else under. They're like, no. You're good. This is part of your contract. Other duties is assigned. No, it's not.
But this wasn't assigned to me, so go screw yourself.
Well, you can't assign other duties. Anyways, that contract loophole I found. In Canada, you can't actually have somebody contract for more than 3 years without making them an employee.
Oh.
So technically, if you're under contract with a company, they can't just like cut you off after 3 years. They actually have to fire you or they're screwed. And it's actually been a bit of an issue for a few companies. I'm just going to leave it at that. Hey, back. I love it, Bandrew. Dylan didn't get to fact check you, so he turned into spell checking Midnight Wolf. So true. Liberty Dude's retracting a bunch of statements. He obviously gave away state
This is basically
secrets.
Bandrew's way. Bandrew just anytime he jumps on the stream now, he just expects me to be an asshole, which is fair. It's part of my brand, I think, at this point.
Midnight Wolf, I do fix and install terminals and vending machines along with the communications. That's cool.
That is neat.
People need to gamble. Yeah, no, that's also one of those jobs where you're always on the road, man. I'm on the road.
That's cool. I mean, I don't know,
Road
like
is my
combining
life.
technology and travel. Like, I don't know, I'd be down for that. That sounds kind of neat.
Yeah, no, it really
Sounds
does.
like a lot of work, but it sounds kind of neat.
That's
An
what
honest living.
Yeah, that's what elections are for. Midnight Wolf. Anyways. Yeah, but I found that out about contracts because several years back, the Canadian government had a bunch of contract employees that have been with them for like 30 years, and they just dumped them. They just one day they're just no more job. Sorry, bud. And they ended up having to create a law that said you can't do that anymore.
Well, it's funny. Like in Ontario now, there are this Bill 27. The non-compete is a small part of that bill. There are a lot of stipulations in that bill. One of which is businesses now have to have a written policy, like a very clear and definitive disconnect from work policy. In other words, what the government's trying to do is make sure that your employer can't just call you any day of the week, any time of the day, and expect you to work. Yeah. Businesses have to outline a policy. I think it's by March 1st. And if they don't, they're liable for some nastiness.
I love it. Okay, so I love this. First Liberty Dude says, I thought they were red. No need to leave it there for others. That's fair. I get that. Dimebag Darren. At Bandrew Scott, really need you to review the Revelator IO24, please and thank you. I love when people are like,
Aiden, would you like to chime in on this?
No, I don't. Apparently, I'm not going to review it. Son of a.
Especially now. Now you're definitely not going to review it.
So people are communicating with Bandrew on our stream. Is that the point of this? Like people come on, hey man, you know where to find Bandrew Fridays? Yeah, man, he's on Aiden's stream with Dylan.
I mean, I can't say I blame them. I mean, what can you say?
That's awesome.
Bander's got clout. What can you say?
But he could have at least put me in there too. Like, hey, Bandrew or Aiden.
Oh, boy.
The Revelator IO24. You know what? I get a lot of requests for that, and I'm actually kind of surprised that Bandrew hasn't reviewed it yet. But maybe I'll pick one up. I was talking with the PreSonus people, and they were. Was this right around when they got purchased? Anyways, yeah. Hey, Bandrew, I have a question.
This is going to become a meme now, basically.
Dimebag Darren says, I've been pestering him for ages. I have to let him have it.
Fair enough.
Ms. Ravioli, that happened to a group of guys I worked with at Delta Airlines. The digital screens at the gates, that's all of them. They pitched the idea to higher ups and surprise. Yeah, that sucks.
Some big companies are just
Bangs,
dicks.
I just harassed Bandrew on your stream. Now, we like Bandrew to come out and be part of the conversation, guys.
We like him to stay, so harassing is not recommended.
Yeah. It's so cool we're all hanging out, man. Yeah, it is. I have a like for you. Yeah, that's the thing, eh? Bandrew, I've got a like for you.
Sure, Bandrew, go for it.
Okay.
I mean, that's not as bad because at least I'm here.
I love this.
Like the amount of times that people ask Aiden a question and exclude me, like I don't care.
Bandrew,
it is Aiden's stream.
Okay, Bandrew, hit him up with the question. We're gonna stop the show here. We're gonna stop the show. Bandrew's got a question for Dylan. Everybody, stop. You're just gonna sit here quietly until Bandrew's done actually typing it up.
I think it was a troll. I don't think he actually has a question.
No,
he's now going to invent one.
Yeah.
Put him on the spot.
Man, you don't need to include me. Dylan knows more than me about a lot of stuff. So.
Bullshit.
Dimebag says, I already have the sub and bell rung. What do you want? That's fair. That sounded dirty at first. Liberty Dude, reviewing every interface doesn't seem to be Bandrew's focus. And that's fair. Interface reviews, they don't suck, but they're a lot of friggin' work. Ouch, what the hell was that?
That was me whacking the mic by accident.
Bandrew says, I have the Rev IO24, but it's a busted unit. I haven't gotten around to send it back.
That's not the best review. Don't buy it.
I'm actually, maybe I'll pick one up just to beat Bandrew to the... Bandrew's thanked me prior.
Once you get yours and yours is busted, and it's like, okay.
Well, it is a PreSonus product. You never know. Bandrew's thanked me before for doing reviews on stuff that he doesn't want to do, so... Maybe I'll pick one up. I don't know.
Liberty, I hate you.
Dylan, what is your favorite $15 microphone? No, answer it for the fun. These people are members, Dylan. That's a member question.
The mic integrated into my shitty Lenovo ThinkPad from work. That's probably $2.
Technically, it's under 15. Well, he wanted to know favorite $15 microphone.
Well, I
Not
don't have
under 15.
I don't have MSRPs off the top of my head, so I don't know exactly, any $15 mic, but I guarantee it's probably a wholesale mic.
Banjo is kind of a staple reference, I suppose. Meant to say I sent one DBX back and they tested and sent a pair of Rode M5 replacement. Got another DBX and it has a fault, but I think the 48 volt to be clear. Oh, interesting. Okay, Dylan, read David's thing there because I think that was directed at you. I think everyone's just talking to you now. Fine.
Zip
Dylan,
fizz. Fucking Hayden. God damn it, the zip fizz. You deducted it from the last thing you sent me, so you have to sign it at some point.
Shit. Yeah, no. You
It's
were
like
even in Ottawa. What the hell?
I know.
I'm blowing out my voice tonight. I can actually feel it. Banjo wants to know, Dylan, what's your proposed exit for the Middle East? Also, please discuss politics in depth.
No, that is not a thing we're doing on stream.
I can actually shut his mic off. So
yeah, I can also shut my mic off.
Yeah, not for,
actually, what was it? What was it I saw on one of these game shows on YouTube? It was like say something we'll have to bleep, and the guy said like OJ was innocent, and they bleeped like the entire sentence. It was hilarious.
That's amazing.
Anyway, yeah.
Beresford, personally, I don't mind Julian Krause's interface reviews. Yeah, I was Julian Krause does the review really, really well. I watched his on the new not the Scarlet, but the Focusrite Claret. Thanks. Claret. I watched it on that. That looks like a beast.
It's hard because it's got two T's, so I just assume it's claret. The French, the claret.
Liberty Dude says not 14 or 16, just the $15 microphones, by the way.
Fuck. I couldn't help you.
I'm gonna. Okay, I
have
promise.
to do some research. I'm gonna go find a $15 mic right now.
I can't believe you were in town and I didn't give you that because I also have your hat.
That's why I'm laughing.
It's in a box with a hat.
With a hat. Oh boy.
Dimebag. People ask me a lot of questions and I answer and provide references to guys like you, Andrew, Mike Dalg, and others. Oh, Mike Delgadio. Banjo, I didn't have a question and you called my bluff, so I had to come up with one to ask. That's what you get. I'm pretty sure there was a gear question somewhere buried in, considering what your bedroom looks like, Banjo. I'm assuming that's your bedroom that you actually record videos in.
That is a boss ass bedroom, if that is in fact.
Well, I mean,
like it's lined with shit on like every wall. Like that's amazing.
But
I want to sleep in a room like that. Like,
my
please.
new guitar that I'm getting that is being sent to me by a distributor, Schecter. It's
you sent me the link to that.
Yeah, I should actually maybe I'll share that with the crowd. Let me go find the link. There it is. The Schecter C1 Apocalypse. I mean, the link is coming, people. Okay. So, considering I'm not a blues guitarist per se, but I'm also not a metal guitarist.
I mean, you used to be.
Not really metal per se, like hard rock maybe.
On the verge.
But I've never been a shredder. I've never been my soloing is very reminiscent of blues.
I respect people that shred and sweep pick and all that. People often do you shred, bro? You shred? It's like, honestly, as a creative person, that's a cool skill, but I would not get any mileage out of it. Yeah. So I'm not going to learn it because it's pointless for me. It doesn't contribute to my craft personally.
I would love to. I don't have the time to do that, but I'm building on my skill set that is real rusty.
Like finger picking is more of a use of my time that is effective because it contributes to my sonic styling that is actually useful to me. I sweep picking I guess I can shred. Sweep picking though, because it's a technical point.
Well, sweep picking is really useful though. Like the same thing with tapping. Tapping can be really useful.
Oh yeah, I do tapping. Not very often because
I've never gotten into tap ever.
I don't. I do it only when I need like some really long legato phrasing for solos. That's it.
Yeah.
And same with sweep picking. I could see sweep picking being very useful when you want to have some legato runs.
It goes for everything. You can use that in blues, jazz, everything, right? Sweep picking is fantastic. Bandrew, got a mic for recording farts, asking for a friend. Yes, that was a Twitter post, I think. Dimebag, this is the Bandrew types part of the broadcast.
Yeah, and like to Bandrew's point, like if I could do Travis picking, which is a style of sweep picking, and I can, then yeah, like I fully acknowledge that I could do sweep picking if I allocated the time to do it.
Everything, right?
I always think about because time is, for me, it is my most valuable currency, and I don't spend time on something if I know I'm not going to get anything out of it that either has intrinsic value or monetary value. And for me, sweep picking would have neither of those things.
All right. We're going to have to wrap this up. This is supposed to be a strong hour just for my voice, but I want to get through some of the comments here. Liberty Dude says, Dylan, for new people to audio recording, do you recommend them to use a shock mount, pop filters, or USB microphone? You don't need to put in a box in front of you to use.
What? There's a lot packed in there. Let me. Where's that comment?
That's Liberty Dude. So I'm
Liberty Dude. Dylan, for new people to audio recording, do you recommend them use shock mount? There are broadcasters that will say, it's a crutch. No, it's not. It's helpful. Shock mount, yes. Not in every situation though. If you're a voiceover person, you probably might not necessarily need. If you're a drummer, yes, shock mount. Thump, thump, thump. Yeah. 100%.
Well, like you can hear mine.
Yes, but if you're a voiceover person, provided you're not moving, which you
stop
don't really
punching the fucking desk. Yes.
You don't need to. Yeah. Yeah. Remember that when I was at your place on the stream? And
yes.
People were getting on that because it was, and it is annoying when people do that. But so, USB mic, I'd say new people to audio, yes. Start with a USB mic. It makes life simple in the beginning. When you're starting out with anything, whether it's being a photographer, being a filmmaker, being a musician, being a voiceover person, start simple. Start with the basic thing and then slowly add things on top of that. I just had a conversation with somebody about this yesterday about cameras, right? And how for a lot of new photographers, I never don't shoot in manual. That is a double negative. I always shoot in manual. And that really intimidates some people. And it's like, I know the exposure triangle. I get it. But it's only because I started learning what different shutter speeds look like, then what different aperture openings, what f-stops look like, then what different ISOs look like. And over time, it's like, okay, like don't start with everything at once. You're going to blow your brain out. So yeah, start with the USB mic. Start with whatever makes the life simple. Start with Cakewalk or some really easy DAW, even Audacity, which it's cheap and it's sort of easy. I mean, I still don't find it intuitive, but it's because I'm used to the bigger, more obnoxious things.
David, did anyone check Julian's review of the 8500 getting near an SM7B? Yeah, I love those videos. You can do a lot with EQ. That's all I'll say about that. It was a fantastic video. Dan, beating your son to the punch with the Schecter. And that's the thing. I actually texted him, sent him the link saying, sorry, dude, because that was his dream guitar. I kind of feel bad, but at the same time, woo, got a guitar. No fair, I have to work. Sorry, Sean. That sucks. Mark Vega, hey, how are you? We're doing fine. Bandrew, Dylan, that's totally my excuse to do it. Has nothing to do with the fact. Yeah.
That's what they're replying to.
It's so true.
Like I'm assuming there's like a 90% probability that like there are skills that I've picked up in other areas that are much more complicated. So I'm pretty confident if I committed to it, I would learn it pretty.
Mine has always been double picking. Always double picking. The Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
That double pick.
Yeah.
Can't for the life of me. I know I could sit down and figure it out, but I just don't. Like I'm not playing Metallica, so I don't.
Honestly,
really care.
It's kind of like, and this is a good analogy. I saw a video a few years ago where an engineer took a bike and he installed a gear on the steering tract of it so that basically when he turned the handlebars left, the wheel went right. So it was inverted. And he had to learn how to ride a bike all over again because, and so it's kind of like that. And I know because when I tried to learn double, like I'd say it probably took me 5 or 6 years to finally get double picking to the point where I was comfortable recording passages with it.
Yeah.
Which is, for me, that's the benchmark. If I can get it to the point where it's clean enough that it's record worthy, then I'm happy.
I've never even come close. I've tried single picking it. I've tried everything. I just can't. Like doing the downstroke like James Hetfield.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God, I have no fucking clue how he does that. His hand is magical.
Yeah, you have to definitely have a lot of wrist control to stop yourself from, because gravity. Yeah, up picking is always the one that you have more control, but it sounds like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fart it up and put it in your drummer's kick drum. I was being facetious. I can't do sweep picking at all. Haha.
I've picked up on that. Neither can I. Although I've never, I think I spent about 10 minutes just wrapping my head around the concept and doing it slowly. So I guess I can do it slowly. I can't do it full speed.
Sean says, I bought the pencil microphone featured in your video. Cool. The P170 is fantastic.
It is good. I have two of them. They're permanently mounted on a XY stick.
Oh,
it's awesome.
That's going to be one of the next things I'm going to be getting is an XY stick for because I'm getting into guitar recording. So that's going to be. Oh, Dylan's walking away. I pissed him off somehow. Dylan's pissed. Dimebag, is the sync way off for you as well, or is it just me? Dylan's always off a little sync. Dylan's always been a little bit off, so. Yeah, there we go.
Look at this purdy fella.
I told you he's off. There you go.
Off my rocker. There we go. One of the mics fell out of his clip.
Yeah, I've got to get one of those. I'm gonna be kind of building up over the next little while because I actually had a great concept for videos, and I don't want anyone to steal it. So I'm gonna tell Dylan off camera.
Honestly, so this is what I will say about that. This XY config. I hate XY. I hate it. I hate how it sounds. It sounds horrible. It sounds so, specifically on headphones, but also in speakers, it's so unnaturally wide.
Yeah.
As far as, and now it's passable if it's the only thing that you can do. And XY is nice because it is simple. It is a simple setup, but I mean, not as simple as AB, but still pretty simple. When at some point we can finally land a deal with Vanguard to get that bloody MS, that thing is coming off of that mic.
See, and I'm working with them, but he really wants to go over the Focusrite stuff first.
Yeah, which is fair.
Yeah, and so I'm like, okay, Focusrite, apparently I'm getting a bunch of Focusrite stuff in February. He wants to go over all of the DI stuff. That's what he wants me to focus on for that is like the included stuff with the interfaces, which that's cool. I'm going to have a guitar. Let's go over the DI stuff. Have some fun with it.
I love MS. It is my favorite stereo miking technique. Of all of the like 6 that are common, it is like my favorite. The only problem is it's kind of impractical. It is the best, and like most things that are the best, it is also subsequently the hardest to configure.
Yeah.
To configure properly.
Well, that's why that one mic would be fantastic for you because it's pre-configured.
It saves you. It doesn't save you from all the work. You still have to. Well, actually, I don't know because I've seen on the mic it has like an XLR sort of kitchen switch box that you plug it into, and I think that box may actually have polarity decoding integrated into it, so you can actually have, because normally you have to do some processing in your DAW or like you have an analog mult in a rack and you do it that way, but that's risky. I've had to do that in a studio using a mult on a patch bay, and if the mult isn't done well or the engineer was a little high when you put it together, you might have some weirdness. Anyway.
Okay, I'm gonna call it. I love you guys. Thanks for coming out. I think where's that statement? David Sillers. Nice show and posse in the comments, and Aiden and Dylan are really okay tonight.
No, we're not.
Really okay. We are really okay. Not amazing. We're okay.
Well, really okay is good. I'll take it. I'm not really okay most of the time, so I'll take it.
Yeah, Dylan's a freaking mess.
Sean, yeah, really. Sean, if I record 32 bits on a mix pre, can I send a signal to DSLR from unit? Well,
no, it really won't.
Record.
It.
Post 32 bits fine. I mean, recording at a 32-bit depth really shouldn't matter unless you're dealing digital to digital. Like if your camera had like a Toslink input or some ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
Which most cameras don't. But if it did, then yeah, you're gonna have a mismatch. But
sample rate's your big problem, not
sample rate, sample depth,
yeah,
or bit rate, which is improperly identified by most spec sheets. Yeah, bit depth. The only thing that will help is to avoid bit quantization as far as your volume levels. It will give you more dynamic range.
Yeah. All right. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much, Sean, and everyone. Hopefully that answered your question. If not, feel free to hit us up in the next one. I'm going to go have a quiet night with some hot tea. So have a good night, guys.